Hey, what's up, champions? Welcome to Growth Mode. I'm your host, Donnie Bovine, the CEO and founder of Success Champions. I've spent over 20 years in the straight commission sales game, and the last 3.5 now running a business and learning to scale and grow. Hanging out with me as always is my buddy Kevin Snow, a sales and tactician what was that? Sales and tactician, Jedi. That's what we're going with today. Kevin is now a Jedi with his star. These are not the droids you're looking for. So, on this show, we talk about sales, business development, and all things to help you scale and grow your business. On this episode, are we talking about Jedis, Kevin? I'm not really sure. What are we doing on this episode?
We are actually talking about mindset.
Oh, that's funny.
These are not the prospects you're looking for. So,
nice.
I want to talk about mindset and sales. And this goes back to a previous conversation we had where people was like, well, I just can't sell. I
can't sell.
I can't sell. It's Friday. Leave me alone. But, how do you get to that right mindset where you can go out and do the sales thing? And what is the right mindset to be a salesperson?
Well, I think in your case, you've got to embrace your inner Jar Jar. And I think that will have everything. I can't resist. So now here's the thing. I think that most often people kick their own ass before they get into the sales game whatsoever. I mean, let's be honest. Nobody as a kid, when their third grade teacher said, what do you want to be when you grow up? Raised their fucking hand and said, I want to be a salesperson, right? That's not a thing, right? Nobody ever has that desire. I mean, I'm sure there's like 1% of the population that's like born a salesperson and want to be one when they grow up. But most of us, we got into it not necessarily out of choice. We didn't have a whole lot of fucking options. I know that was my case. I was working in an HVAC company right after the Marine Corps and was getting ready to quit. And the owner of the company was like, look, dude, I know you're fixing to quit, but we're going to try you in sales before you go. And literally that's how my sales career started. And for me, once I really realized that I could, no longer have to climb under houses and up in attics in Texas 110-degree summers, I was in to try something new. So, but, for me, the mindset behind sales is very much kind of a Jedi mind trick. It's very much the idea of being able to put myself into a place or put yourself into a place where you could go just have a casual fucking conversation without worrying about that you have to close this individual. And that you can go in and be comfortable getting a no. What do you think?
I think that is the key thing is getting in the mindset where you are just having a conversation. You look at a lot of the basic training that salespeople go through when they join a corporation. They put them through their 2 weeks of sales training, and it's normally god-awful sales tactics. They're teaching old-style Zig Ziglar, Tom Hoskins, Brian Tracy.
If it's not just sales tactics, it's just knowledge of the products and services, right? Without any sales training whatsoever.
Yeah. They're teaching them the Ben Franklin close and the George Washington close and the takeaway and all these really horrible things that don't work anymore and that make the current evolution of salespeople feel slimy when they use them.
Right.
And that was one of the things I hated about sales when I did after the corporate stint I did was the scripted way that they had it set up. Here's how you will sell.
Yeah.
And you will say these things, and you will show this page at this point, and here will be the one thing you say on this page. Like, how about you just teach me how to create value and to communicate that?
Yeah, dude, I was such the same way because, I literally, nobody taught me sales. So I had to figure it out all on my own. And I can honestly say I don't think I really got good at it until I started selling commercial printing. But for me, there was a lot of this because of the research and things I did. My first commercial printing sales career was a 3-ring binder with about 200 sheets of paper in it. So it was a massive 3 rings, and I had pamphlets and brochures. I mean, it was kind of like I was walking around with a fucking PowerPoint presentation. And because for me, the mindset was I had to wow these motherfuckers, right? I had to blow them away. And let's get as generic gets. When it comes to commercial printing, there is nothing, literally nothing different from one shop to the other. Nothing. I mean, the same equipment, same ink, same processes, same turn times. I mean, nothing different between companies. So me going in trying to wow them with what we had, the buyers didn't give a shit. They did not care one freaking rat's ass that we could make pretty brochures because every other printer in the world could do that. I had to go ahead. I would say I had to learn how to actually carry on a conversation.
Well, and that's where when you were talking about that, I'm like, yeah, that's when I made the huge transition for me too, is when I was doing the Nextel thing and I got rid of the pitch book and started talking to them about what was going on in their business and started showing them how they could actually use this little piece of technology to generate revenue and to be more profitable. And it was so much, the conversations were so easier. And the volume of my sales orders went up. I was closing higher revenue, instead of a $50 average revenue per user, I was coming in at $150.
Yeah.
And the market was like, my market manager was like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm selling these other things that they just have to have our phone for.
Nice. See, for me, the way I found to go have conversations is I forgot my binder. I went to a technology company that later became about $1 million account for me. But I get to the parking lot and I have this panic moment of, oh fuck, I forgot my binder.
Oh my God.
What am I going to do? But I wasn't going to miss the call. So I go in and I sit down across from the guy and I'm like, look, I got to apologize. He goes, for what? I said, I typically come prepared with a whole presentation that shows everything that we do, and I left it sitting on my desk at work before I left the office. And he goes, huh. Okay, why don't you tell me about your company? And so I started talking to him a little bit about the company, and we got onto the military, and his dad was a Marine, and all of a sudden this connection happened, and I walked out of there with my first PO from him, and I went, what the fuck just happened? I went from having this whole presentation to a real conversation, so I'm like, can I do this again? And I started leaving the binder at home. And it was amazing. I was forced to do something that I wasn't really good at, which was small talk. Small talk doesn't always come naturally to me. I have to find a quick bond or connection with somebody to get there. But once the door's open, I can talk to anyone. And so by leaving anything that I could use as a crutch at home, it forced me into more real conversation. So I tell people all the time, the mindset that I have to have going in is I'm just going to meet somebody. I'm not trying to sell shit. I'm going to get to know them, and in hopes that we can form an ongoing relationship down the road that's going to lead us to be two friends working together and doing some big business together.
I think part of the issue for people having the wrong mindset is the exposure that they've had previously to salespeople and that
Agreed.
sales process. You know, unless you're a business owner or in a senior level management position where you're working with professional salespeople that are actually selling high value products, you tend to interact with salespeople that are selling commodities. You know, they're pitching a car. They're pitching
transactional.
Yeah, very transactional. They're selling a car. They're selling office supplies. So it is very, horrible closing tactics, and that's what they think sales is. But when you get into the high value, high ticket items, you just don't come in and pitch $1 million thing. You have built value and you understand how this is going to fix something for that client to get them to write $1 million check. And those salespeople are what all sales should be like. If I'm going to go buy a $40,000 truck, you better build some value for me on why I should drop 40 grand on a truck.
Right. Yeah,
not just pitch features.
Yeah, all day long. And I think that the other thing to that point is because people are so scared they're going to come across as that transactional salesperson,
Yep.
right? That they get more nervous going into it, which causes them to become that transactional salesperson, because they're so hung up on it. So I really think for me, probably the greatest tool that I have in my arsenal to keep my mindset in check when it comes to anything sales is to have the world's biggest pipeline. And having more people that I am talking to about my products and services is the most healthy thing that you can do to keep your mindset right. Because literally, if the person you're talking to is the only person you have in your pipeline that can say yes or no to you, all right, that's a desperation moment that's fixing to happen.
Commission breath.
Yeah, 100%. But if you have, that's prospect 101, right, or 99, and you got and you got 100 more sitting behind them, then this conversation doesn't matter.
Yep.
Because you can go in and be comfortable with a real conversation. And people were like, but yeah, how do you get 100 prospects? You do the shit that you don't want to do, which is to reach out to conversations and DMs, and you fill your fucking pipeline.
But even those don't have to feel slimy.
No.
You can do the reach outs in a way that is authentic. And you can listen to our last episode. We'll go, listen, we talk about that in depth. But you can do sales and reach outs without feeling like the slimy sales guy or gal.
Right.
But it's having that understanding, that mindset of, hey, here's how I do a conversation. Here's how I introduce the idea of meeting with me.
And I'm really big if you're extremely nervous in reach outs or you're extremely nervous on the sales call, fall on the fucking sword and tell them, right? Nothing cooler than for somebody to get me on a sales call, try and sell me something, and for them to go, I gotta be honest, I'm not really good at this sales thing. I'm actually pretty nervous. How do we proceed? And my first move is, I'm like, you know what, dude? Cool. Thanks for telling me. Why don't we walk through what you have and let's figure it out? It's the people that are scared shitless and nervous as hell that come up all bravado that lose it for me, because somewhere through it they're gonna fumble because they can't keep that momentum up of being fearless, and it blows the whole game. So if you really want to help with the mindset side of things, go back to, let them know where you're at. People are empathetic as hell, and they want to help. So give them that opportunity.
But then you have the salespeople that are on the other end of the spectrum too, that are just as big of, assholes, and that is the ones who
Did y'all
think
hear that? He didn't want to say assholes. He was trying to check himself.
I was going through words in my head. Do I want to use this one, that one, that one? Nope, we're going to use asshole because
Y'all
that
go
one
back
is
and
one
listen to
that
the last
fits.
episode, and you'll understand why he was struggling with that. Holy hell! Yes, there are the over the top bravado guys.
Who think that they're God's gift to sales.
Yep.
And they come in with that attitude. And you tend to see that a lot in the transactional car sales world. It's like, oh, look, Gucci, Gucci suit, tie, all that stuff.
It goes back to knowing your audience. I mean, if you get bravado or an ego person up against me, that sales call is not going to go well. Because I'm just going to turn it off and be like, all right, cool, we're done. This is no point to this conversation. Because, I mean, as a business owner, I'm looking to work with people that want to work ongoing, build relationships and hang out, become friends, lifelong type connections. I'm not looking for a transaction. I'm not looking to pay your fucking commission. I'm looking for the relationship. So I think for this episode, the biggest thing to think about is it's healthy and okay to relax. Be yourself. Don't take things on sales calls. Fill that pipeline with enough people that the one you're talking to doesn't matter, so you can keep your mindset in check and so you can relax and take a breath and go have some real conversations. And, at the end of the day, fall on the sword. Be yourself, and if you're nervous, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Do the reach outs and have some fun and enjoy the day. So as always, guys, if you get any sort of tips, tricks, any sort of value out of this, do me a favor and teach somebody else how to subscribe to this thing. It means the world to us. It's literally like you walk up and gave us a virtual hug. So we love and appreciate you guys always tuning in. Stay out of trouble, and we'll catch you next time.